Tuesday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Marine experts warn that the discovery of a Chinese seismometer used for oil exploration within Philippine territory is a cause for concern. But Malacanang dismisses this issue and insists that there are no exploration activities at the nearby Scarborough Shoal. Marian Enriquez tells us more in this exclusive report.
So dati, ito lang nakita namin nag-ilaw dito.
In the wee hours of July 1, a group of fishermen from Pangasinan found what looks like a buoy near their fishing ground. Elias Victor said the object was flashing a bright red light.
Kala namin may kumapit sa payo namin na bangka na malaki pang. Pero yung linapitan namin, yan pala po yung lumulutang malapit sa payo namin.
It has Chinese characters written on it, which translates to safe salvage, big reward. It also has a contact number starting with +86, China's country code. Alias Charlie said this is the first time they saw something like this in more than 20 years of their fishing.
Matagal na rin po yan siguro paanod-anod sa laot kasi tinubuhan na po siya ng mga sisi.
Charlie was able to track the object's GPS location, which is 110 nautical miles northwest of Bolinao, Pangasinan. That's north of Scarborough Shoal, while within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. UP National Institute of Geological Sciences Director Mario Aurelio said the object is actually an ocean bottom seismometer, or OBS. OBS is a device installed on seabeds that records the Earth's motion underneath. Aurelio said it essentially gives an image of what's under the sea.
One of the practical applications of the data that you gather from it is to see if there are, for example, natural resources, for example, petroleum.
For UP Institute for Maritime Affairs and Law of the Sea Director J. Batong Bakal, such devices should be a cause for concern.
Dapat lang talaga tayong maging mas vigilant. Dapat lang tayong maging, dapat tayong magbantay talaga. Baka hindi natin alam, ini-explore na pala nila yung ating katubigan.
The OBS was already turned over to the Science and Technology Department for investigation. The palace maintained that there are no exploration activities in Scarborough Shoal.
Wala naman pong ganung report na nakukuha. So for now, we're confident na wala naman pong exploration na nagaganap dyan sa Scarborough, at kung meron naman po, and if we can verify it, then we will file or do the corresponding action.
For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
1 million more doses of Sinovac arrived in the country as of this morning. Giving us more details is JC Cosico. He's now reporting to us live from NAIA Terminal 3. JC, good morning. What do you have for us?
Charles, it was 7:24 a.m. when the plane carrying 1 million Sinovac shots arrived here at the NAIA Terminal 3. Now, this batch of vaccines were procured by the Philippine government. However, it could take a few days before the supply can be administered to Filipinos, as the jabs have no COA yet. DOH officials say they will fast-track its deliveries to LGUs, including the NCR Plus 8, once the COA is out in 2 to 3 days. Yesterday, 1.5 million doses of the China-made jab were also delivered to the Philippines. So far, the country has received 17 million Sinovac doses. It currently has the lion's share of the country's vaccine stockpile, which is currently at almost 31 million doses. In the meantime, NTF Special Advisor Ted Herbosa advised hospitals to prepare manpower and supplies amid the threat of the Delta variant. He notes contingency plans are in place, while several LGUs have issued policies not to allow children outside and to discourage home quarantine to prevent household transmissions. Charles, over 5 million more vaccine doses are expected to arrive this month. Back to you.
Thanks for those updates. That was JC Cosico reporting live from the NAIA. The OCTA research group says the Philippines might experience difficulties in handling another upcoming surge, as the government will have to divide its attention across multiple hotspots. Speaking on One News is the Chiefs, OCTA research fellow Guido David said a surge with more epicenters will also be more difficult to contain, unlike the one seen in the first quarter when the NCR Plus was the only hotspot. David said a more coordinated strategy among epicenters will be needed should there be a more spread out surge caused by the Delta variant.
If Cebu City is also having a surge, we are having a surge. Cases are still high in Davao and in Cagayan de Oro, they're still high. I mean, slow down na, but it's still high. And then we have also a surge in Lawag City. So everywhere na, parang, it's going to be more difficult to control it pag nangyari na.
Meanwhile, in the same program, former Health Secretary Pauline Rosel Ubial said the country is better prepared for the Delta variant. Ubial explains that the country has enough facilities and equipment to address a gradual surge in cases driven by the more infectious variant. But the former DOH chief is uncertain of the country's capabilities in handling a Delta-driven surge like that in Indonesia.
We have a gradual increase like 6,000 today, 7,000 tomorrow, 8,000 the next day, then maybe our systems are okay with that. But yung biglaang surge, I don't know if we can really address that. That's what we're afraid of. And I think what happened in India and Indonesia is that they really had this super spreader effects. I hope that we really stop those events.
Should there be another COVID-19 surge, small and medium businesses in the country say they cannot afford another lockdown. But what is the government's plan to support MSMEs amid the ongoing threat of the Delta variant? One News' business editor, Regina Lay, with the story.
Micro, small, and medium enterprises nationwide are crying for help. 16 months into varying forms of lockdowns, many have yet to get back on their feet. And now, with the prospect of heightened restrictions once more due to the Delta variant, Trade Secretary Mon Lopez warns that more businesses may be forced to close.
If you talk to the SMEs, sabi nila, nako, pag isa pang lockdown or isa pa hindi na namin kakayanin. Kung malipis na yung cash flow mo, tapos magla-lockdown ka na naman, ano pa na matitira? Talagang either magpapawas ka na ng trabaho ng tao, or yung business mo, isasara mo na naman.
MSMEs, they make up more than 98% of the economy and account for up to 65% of total jobs in the Philippines. But they've also borne the brunt of the pandemic, as they have far less working capital than the large corporations. Secretary Lopez says by their estimate, around 10% of SMEs remained closed in June, and many have shifted to online selling and courier services.
Ang nag-increase naman ng registration ay 31%. Siguradong nag-register na yan, nag-online selling and delivery na yan, or mga naging logistics na sila, service provider na sila, nag-iba na ng pangkabuhayan ng negosyo.
In response, DTI has rolled out zero-interest loans, grants, and other incentives like the Carinderia kits. But lawmakers say that's not enough. Congress is still pushing for Bayanihan 3, which will set aside at least 8 billion pesos for MSMEs.
But Bayanihan 3 has something more that the GAA doesn't have, which is very specific measures on how spending for economic stimulus shall be monitored. As we know, that's one of the weaknesses of Bayanihan 1 and Bayanihan 2. There were problems, particularly with the disbursement for the ayuda.
The challenge, though, will be convincing small businesses to actually take up loans. Especially in tourism, there weren't enough SMEs that took up loans under Bayanihan 2, such that billions remained unspent after the law expired on June 30. Regina Lay, One News.
With the beginning of the Tokyo Olympics at hand, Bloomberg's Kurumi Mori takes us behind the scenes into the Olympics Press Center. Let's watch this.
Oh, the vending machines. A $150 maneki neko. It's a lucky Japanese cat figurine. I'm going for the teacup today. The new Olympic Village and other venues, including the Press Center, are in East Tokyo. This district actually sits on artificial land. Tokyo started creating these islands in the 1930s. There's the gymnastics center and volleyball's right behind that. Oh, the very sad 2020 fan park. 3-on-3 basketball is over there. All right, right, we made it to MPC, or the main press center. And what's he doing? All right, maybe next time. Going through security. I'm in. The opening ceremony is Friday, but unfortunately more athletes and Olympics officials continue to test positive, including a member of the U.S. women's gymnastics team and 3 players from the South African soccer team. So we all have to try and stay as safe as possible. I'm double masked today and about to get my PCR test done.
Okay, I'm inside the PCR test center and I got this kit. And now I have to spit, do my saliva test. At the airport, they give you like pictures of lemons and umeboshi, which is super, super sour, to help you salivate, but here there's no pictures.
Last but not least, I got my press kit. We get these at every Olympics and other big events like G7. Inside is a media handbook with tons of info, super important. A reusable seat cover to keep you cool, okay. Lemon-flavored salt tablets for when we sweat a lot. Japanese summers are hot and humid. And an Olympics logo furoshiki wrapping cloth. Here's my desk. Time to get to work.
And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.